Have you walked through your grocery store recently and noticed something different? Empty spaces where certain items used to sit, price tags that seem to change weekly, and a growing number of shoppers filling their carts with very specific foods while others browse aimlessly. What you're witnessing isn't coincidence, it's strategic preparation. September 2025 marks a critical moment that experienced preppers have been anticipating. They're not panicking or making headlines. Instead, they're methodically securing 6 essential foods before widespread awareness creates scarcity. After tracking food security patterns for over a decade, I've learned to recognize the quiet signals that precede major supply disruptions. Right now, multiple factors are converging simultaneously. Global grain production has fallen to levels not seen in over 15 years. Transportation costs have surged nearly 50%, and several key processing facilities across North America have closed indefinitely due to equipment failures and workforce challenges. At extreme weather events, devastating harvests on multiple continents, and you have conditions that historically lead to significant food shortages and price increases. The prepared families understand this window of opportunity. They're selecting foods based on 4 critical criteria: exceptional nutritional value, extended shelf life, cooking versatility, and increasingly limited availability. These aren't random pantry additions. They're calculated choices designed to address specific vulnerabilities in our interconnected food system. Today, I'm sharing exactly which 6 foods they're prioritizing and why acting now positions you ahead of the curve when these shortages become undeniable to everyone else. Whole grain pasta, the nutritional foundation under threat. When experienced preppers quietly fill their carts with whole grain pasta this September, they're not following a trend. They're responding to critical supply chain intelligence that most consumers haven't recognized yet. The strategic value of whole grain pasta extends far beyond simple carbohydrate storage. The durum wheat crisis brewing across North America's grain belt represents a fundamental shift in pasta production capabilities. Unlike the soft wheat varieties used for bread and baked goods, durum wheat requires specific growing conditions and processing expertise. The drought conditions spanning from Saskatchewan to Kansas have decimated crops that typically supply 70% of North American pasta production capacity. What makes this particularly concerning is the concentrated nature of durum wheat processing. Only 12 major facilities across the continent handle the specialized milling required for quality pasta production. When raw material becomes scarce, these facilities prioritize their largest commercial contracts, leaving retail distribution as the lowest priority tier. Manufacturing executives I've contacted report cost increases of 140% since June, with allocation systems already limiting shipments to major grocery chains. This isn't temporary weather-related fluctuation. It represents structural changes in agricultural capacity that will affect availability through 2026 at minimum. The nutritional superiority of whole grain varieties becomes crucial during extended periods of limited food variety. Each serving delivers complete amino acid profiles, complex carbohydrates for sustained energy, and essential B vitamins that maintain neurological function under stress. When fresh produce becomes expensive or unavailable, these nutrients prevent the deficiency-related fatigue and health issues that compromise family resilience. Storage methodology dramatically affects long-term value. Professional food storage specialists recommend transferring pasta from retail packaging into food-grade containers with oxygen absorbers. This approach extends shelf life from 2 years to over 8 years while preventing pest infiltration and moisture damage that destroys entire stockpiles. The versatility factor creates exponential value from pasta-based meal planning. Combined with shelf-stable proteins like canned fish or legumes, pasta provides complete nutritional profiles that sustain both physical health and psychological comfort. The ability to create recognizable, satisfying meals prevents food fatigue that undermines family cooperation during challenging periods. Current wholesale pricing indicates retail increases of 35 to 50% before Christmas, assuming continued availability. Smart stockpiling involves calculating family consumption patterns over 12 months, then securing that quantity while prices remain manageable and selection stays broad. To canned tomatoes, the Flavor Foundation facing crisis. The California tomato industry's current predicament reveals how quickly abundant food supplies can disappear when natural and economic forces converge. September 2025 marks the end of the most challenging growing season in decades for processed tomato production, creating scarcity that will persist well into 2026. California's Central Valley typically processes 95% of America's canned tomato supply during an 8-week harvest window. This year's combination of extreme heat, water allocation restrictions, and labor shortages has reduced processing capacity by an estimated. Unlike grain crops that can be replanted quickly, tomato processing infrastructure requires significant investment and planning that makes recovery slow and expensive. The strategic importance of canned tomatoes in food storage systems cannot be overstated. They function as the flavor foundation that transforms basic staples into palatable, varied meals. Without tomatoes, rice becomes monotonous, beans lack appeal, and pasta dishes lose their comfort food qualities. The psychological impact of flavorful, familiar meals during stressful periods directly affects family morale and cooperation. Nutritionally, the canning process actually enhances tomato benefits by concentrating lycopene and making it more bioavailable than fresh varieties. This powerful antioxidant supports immune system function and cardiovascular health, critical benefits when healthcare access becomes limited or expensive during economic disruptions. Processing facility consolidation has created vulnerability in the supply chain that most consumers don't recognize. Three major companies control 80% of canned tomato production, and each operates on thin margins with limited excess capacity. When raw material becomes scarce, these facilities reduce production rather than compete aggressively for limited supplies. Wholesale buyers report allocation systems already limiting institutional purchases, with retail availability expected to tighten significantly by October. The grocery chains that maintain inventory do so by accepting higher costs that will eventually translate to retail price increases of 40%. Quality considerations become important during scarcity periods. Products processed in the United States maintain better supply reliability than imported alternatives that face additional transportation delays and trade complications. Whole tomatoes offer greater versatility than pre-seasoned varieties, allowing home cooks to control sodium content and flavor profiles according to family preferences. Storage optimization requires understanding how environmental factors affect canned goods quality over time. Temperature fluctuations above 85 degrees can compromise texture and flavor, while consistent cool storage maintains quality for 3 to 5 years beyond printed dates. Rotation systems prevent waste and ensure optimal nutritional value from stored supplies. The cascade effects of tomato shortages extend beyond individual products to affect entire meal categories. Soups, stews, casseroles, and ethnic cuisines all depend on tomato bases, creating demand pressure across multiple product lines when primary supplies become constrained. Specialized legumes, the protein source others ignore. While mainstream consumers focus on traditional beans, experienced preppers are quietly securing lentils, split peas, and chickpeas, specialty legumes that provide superior nutrition while facing more severe supply disruptions than anyone realizes. These overlooked protein sources represent one of the smartest strategic investments available in September 20. International trade dynamics have created a perfect storm for legume availability. India's sudden export restrictions on lentils combined with crop failures in Canada and Australia have eliminated 75% of global export capacity for specialty legumes. Unlike grain shortages that make headlines, legume disruptions receive minimal media attention despite affecting protein security for millions of families. The nutritional density of these legumes far exceeds traditional emergency protein. Lentils provide 18 grams of protein per cooked cup, along with folate levels that support cellular function and iron content that prevents deficiency-related fatigue. Split peas offer similar protein density with added fiber that maintains digestive health during dietary transition. Chickpeas provide complete amino acid profiles comparable to animal proteins when combined with grains. Processing and distribution networks for specialty legumes operate differently than mainstream commodity crops. Smaller-scale operations handle cleaning, packaging, and distribution, making the supply chain more vulnerable to disruption but also more responsive to demand changes. Current wholesale backlogs extend 6 to 10 weeks, with priority given to institutional buyers over retail channel. The cooking advantages become significant during resource-constrained periods. Red lentils cook in 15 minutes without pre-soaking, compared to traditional beans that require overnight preparation and extended cooking times. This efficiency conserves fuel and water while providing quick meal solutions when time and energy become precious resources. Storage economics favor bulk purchasing over retail packages by margins of 200–300%. A 25-pound bag of lentils costs roughly the same as 8 one-pound retail packages, while providing storage efficiency and reduced packaging waste. Bulk suppliers typically maintain better availability during shortage periods because they serve fewer, larger customers. Culinary versatility prevents the meal fatigue that undermines long-term food storage success. Lentils work in soups, salads, curries, and casseroles. Split peas create hearty comfort foods that satisfy psychological needs for familiar flavors. Chickpeas adapt to Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, and American cooking styles, providing cultural variety that maintains family satisfaction. The shelf life of properly stored dried legumes exceeds 10 years when kept in cool, dry conditions with oxygen absorbers. This longevity makes them exceptional value investments that provide protein security far into the future, while requiring minimal storage space and no maintenance. Agricultural sustainability factors suggest specialty legume production will remain constrained longer than grain crops. These nitrogen-fixing plants improve soil health, making them valuable for crop rotation, but their specialized processing requirements limit quick production increases when demand surges. Quality considerations become important when selecting varieties and suppliers. Organic legumes often maintain better storage characteristics and cook more evenly than conventional alternatives. Suppliers who specialize in food storage markets typically offer superior packaging and handling compared to general agricultural distributors. The protein completeness achieved by combining legumes with stored grains creates nutritional profiles that support long-term health without animal products. This combination provides all essential amino acids while delivering fiber, vitamins, and minerals that maintain energy levels and immune function during extended periods of dietary limitation. Or coconut oil, the versatile fat that outlasts everything else. When prepared families quietly add coconut oil to their stockpiling strategy this September, they're addressing one of the most overlooked vulnerabilities in long-term food storage, cooking fats that actually remain stable and nutritious over time. While most people focus on proteins and carbohydrates, experienced preppers understand that without reliable cooking fats, even the best stored foods become unpalatable and nutritionally incomplete. The global supply disruption currently affecting coconut oil stems from multiple converging factors that extend far beyond simple weather patterns. Primary production regions in the Philippines and Sri Lanka are experiencing significant infrastructure challenges, with processing facilities operating at reduced capacity due to equipment failures and energy costs that have tripled since early. These aren't temporary setbacks, they represent structural changes in production capability that will affect availability for years. What makes this particularly strategic is coconut oil's exceptional stability compared to other cooking fats. Virgin coconut oil maintains its nutritional properties and cooking quality for up to 5 years when stored properly in glass containers at room temperature. This longevity far exceeds vegetable oils, which typically become rancid within 6 to 12 months, even when stored under optimal conditions. The nutritional profile provides unique advantages during periods of dietary stress. Coconut oil contains medium-chain triglycerides that your body can rapidly convert to energy without the complex digestive processes required for other fats. This becomes particularly valuable when dealing with high-stress situations where your body needs immediate, sustainable fuel sources that won't create energy crash. Beyond basic cooking applications, coconut oil serves multiple functions that reduce the number of specialized products you need to store. Its antimicrobial properties make it useful for food preservation, extending the shelf life of other stored items when used properly. The oil's natural preservative qualities help prevent spoilage in homemade preparations, creating additional food security benefits that compound over time. Storage methodology significantly affects long-term value. Professional preparedness experts recommend selecting organic, virgin coconut oil packaged in glass containers rather than plastic alternative. The minimal processing preserves beneficial compounds, while glass packaging prevents flavor contamination that can occur with extended storage in plastic containers. Market dynamics indicate substantial price increases ahead. Wholesale costs have risen 45% since June, but retail pricing hasn't fully reflected these increases because stores continue selling inventory purchased at lower cost. This creates a temporary window where strategic purchasing can secure supplies before market prices adjust to reflect actual production costs. The cooking versatility becomes crucial when dealing with limited ingredient variety. Coconut oil's high smoke point makes it suitable for high-temperature cooking methods, while its solid state at room temperature allows for baking applications that require structured fats. The neutral flavor of refined varieties won't overpower other ingredients, maintaining meal palatability when food options become restricted. Industrial applications reveal the broader scope of coconut oil shortages. Food manufacturers increasingly rely on coconut oil as a replacement for palm oil in processed foods, creating additional demand pressure that affects retail availability. This industrial demand typically receives priority over consumer sales, making individual stockpiling more urgent. 5. Apple cider vinegar, the preservation powerhouse. The strategic value of apple cider vinegar extends far beyond health trends or culinary preferences. It represents one of the most effective food preservation tools available to modern families, with applications that become increasingly valuable as fresh food access becomes restricted. Smart preppers recognize apple cider vinegar as liquid food security that transforms perishable items into shelf-stable nutrition. Current agricultural challenges affecting apple production create supply constraints that most consumers haven't recognized yet. The apple harvest shortfalls across major growing regions like Washington State and New York directly impact vinegar production, because quality apple cider vinegar requires apple juice as its base material. When apple supplies tighten, processors prioritize fresh fruit sales over vinegar production, creating scarcity in preservation supplies precisely when they become most needed. The fermentation process that creates apple cider vinegar produces beneficial compounds that support digestive health during periods of dietary limitation. When families rely heavily on stored foods with reduced variety, maintaining gut health becomes essential for proper nutrient absorption and immune system function. The beneficial bacteria and enzymes in unpasteurized apple cider vinegar provide probiotic support that processed foods cannot deliver. Food preservation applications represent the primary strategic value for Prepared Family. Apple cider vinegar creates acidic environments that prevent harmful bacterial growth while maintaining nutritional value in preserved foods. A basic preservation solution using 1 part vinegar to 1 part water with salt for additional flavor and preservation can extend vegetable shelf life for months without refrigeration. The techniques are straightforward but require understanding proper ratios and safety protocols. Vegetables preserved in apple cider vinegar solutions maintain vitamin C content and other essential nutrients that would typically degrade in long-term storage. This preserved nutrition becomes invaluable when fresh produce becomes expensive or unavailable for extended periods. Storage requirements are minimal compared to other preservation methods. Apple cider vinegar with live cultures can maintain its quality for years without refrigeration when stored in cool, dark conditions. The natural acidity prevents contamination and spoilage, making it one of the most stable preservation tools available to home preparers. Quality considerations become important when selecting varieties for long-term storage. Organic apple cider vinegar with the mother intact provides superior preservation capabilities and probiotic benefits compared to pasteurized alternatives. The live cultures in unpasteurized versions create the fermentation activity that enhances preservation effectiveness. Medical applications have been documented across cultures for centuries, though modern healthcare often overlooks these traditional uses. Apple cider vinegar can help regulate blood sugar responses when dietary options become limited to high-carbohydrate stored foods. It supports digestive function when eating unfamiliar food combinations that commonly occur during extended reliance on emergency supplies. The economic aspects favor strategic purchasing now rather than waiting for widespread recognition of shortages. Apple cider vinegar prices have remained relatively stable for years while other food preservation supplies experience significant inflation. However, current apple supply constraints are beginning to affect pricing, with wholesale costs increasing. Multi-purpose functionality reduces storage requirements for specialized products. Apple cider vinegar works effectively as a natural cleaning agent, basic medical application for wound care, and food preservation solution. This versatility becomes particularly valuable when storage space is limited and multiple use items provide greater overall value than single-purpose alternatives. 6. Raw honey, nature's indefinite preservation system. The 6th food that experienced preppers are securing represents perhaps the most remarkable preservation achievement in nature. Raw honey that never spoils and provides both immediate nutrition and long-term food security benefits that extend far beyond simple sweetening application. While others focus on manufactured products with expiration dates, smart families are investing in a food that archaeologists have found perfectly preserved in ancient Egyptian tombs. Current supply disruptions affecting honey production stem from multiple environmental and economic factors that threaten both domestic and international availability. Commercial beekeeping operations across North America are experiencing colony losses of 40 to 60% due to environmental stressors, disease pressures, and pesticide exposures that have intensified throughout. These aren't temporary setbacks, they represent fundamental challenges to honey production capacity that will persist for years. The preservation properties of raw honey make it invaluable for extended food storage strategy. Its natural antimicrobial compounds and low moisture content create environments where harmful bacteria cannot survive. When properly stored in sealed containers, raw honey maintains its nutritional value and therapeutic properties indefinitely, making it perhaps the most cost-effective long-term food investment available. Nutritional benefits become particularly important during periods of dietary stress. Raw honey provides immediately available carbohydrates for energy along with enzymes, antioxidants, and trace minerals that support immune system function. Unlike refined sugars that create energy spikes followed by crashes, honey provides sustained energy that helps maintain physical and mental performance during challenging conditions. The therapeutic applications extend beyond basic nutrition. Raw honey's antimicrobial properties make it useful for wound care when commercial medical supplies become unavailable. Its enzyme content supports digestive health when eating unfamiliar food combinations. The natural sugars provide quick energy during high-stress situations without the negative effects associated with processed alternatives. Food preservation applications represent significant strategic value. Honey can preserve other foods through osmotic dehydration, creating shelf-stable preparations from perishable items. Fruits preserved in honey maintain nutritional value while developing flavors that provide psychological comfort during stressful periods. These preservation techniques require minimal equipment and create food security that extends beyond the honey itself. Quality distinctions become crucial when selecting honey for long-term storage. Raw, unpasteurized honey retains beneficial enzymes and compounds that processed varieties lack. Local honey provides additional benefits through trace amounts of local pollens that can support immune system adaptation to regional environmental factors. Storage methodology affects both longevity and functionality. Honey should be stored in airtight glass containers to prevent moisture absorption that can lead to fermentation. Temperature stability matters less than moisture control, but consistent cool storage helps maintain optimal consistency and prevents crystallization that some people find undesirable. Market dynamics favor immediate purchasing over waiting for general recognition of shortages. Raw honey prices have increased steadily as production challenges intensify, but many consumers haven't recognized the supply constraints affecting availability. Wholesale buyers report allocation systems already limiting restaurant and institutional purchases, indicating retail availability will tighten significantly. The versatility extends to both cooking and preservation applications. Honey works as a natural preservative in baked goods, extending shelf life while providing moisture and flavor. It can create fermented beverages that provide probiotic benefit. Combined with apple cider vinegar, honey creates preservation solutions that maintain both nutrition and palatability in stored foods. Economic considerations support bulk purchasing strategies. Larger containers provide better value per pound while reducing packaging waste. Establishing relationships with local beekeepers offers supply security and often better pricing than retail alternatives. These direct purchasing relationships also provide access to specialty varieties that offer unique flavors and properties. The preparation timeline for honey production makes current shortages particularly concerning. Bee colonies require years to establish productive capacity, and the environmental factors affecting current operations won't resolve quickly. Prepared families securing honey supplies now are positioning themselves ahead of price increases and availability constraints that will become obvious to everyone else within months.
September 2025 presents a critical opportunity that experienced preppers recognize, but most consumers haven't noticed yet. The 6 foods we've explored: whole grain pasta, canned tomatoes, specialized legumes, coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, and raw honey represent more than pantry items. They're strategic investments in food security that address specific vulnerabilities in our interconnected supply system. Each selection offers unique advantages: extended shelf life, superior nutritional density, exceptional versatility, and increasing scarcity. Together, they create a foundation for sustained nutrition that maintains both physical health and psychological comfort during uncertain times. The supply chain disruptions affecting these foods aren't temporary weather events or minor logistics hiccups. They represent structural changes that will influence availability and pricing for months or years ahead. Families who recognize these patterns and act accordingly position themselves ahead of broader market awareness and the price increases that inevitably follow. Strategic preparation isn't about panic or pessimism. It's about reading the signs that others miss and taking reasonable action while options remain abundant and affordable. The prepared families aren't waiting for mainstream confirmation or government announcement. They're quietly securing their food security while maintaining their normal routines. Your window for strategic action remains open, but it's narrowing with each passing week. The choice is simple: take thoughtful steps today or join the crowds reacting tomorrow when options become limited and expensive. The question isn't whether these supply challenges will affect your family, it's whether you'll be prepared when they do.